So welcome everybody to Fireside Chats with Juna and Sabine. And this is December, and we're continuing our talk about the liminal, living in the liminal, which is this kind of in-between space that's kind of strange and yet kind of familiar. And we're neither here nor there. And there's a few challenges that kind of come up along the way, which we talked about in November as well. And we just wanted to revisit this and continue exploring what liminal living is like for all of you, for us. And this really isn't meant to be like a big teaching thing, but it's a kind of let's share together and like around the fireside. And we always want to have a bit of fire in the picture for you, and trying to really recreate that sense of being around the fire, where for me and Sabine, like automatically it's when you're sitting around the fire, a different kind of energy takes over, and you can just be, and sometimes the truth of you comes out, and you can just riff on different topics for a long time. So that's the kind of thing that we wanted to invite everyone to with these fireside chats, and just, where can you go in the world to talk about what matters to you and some of the deep and meaningful stuff. Church for me, it's not really there anymore. So it's just a neat place to be with like-minded, like-hearted people.
Mm-hmm. A worldwide fireside chat. Hey.
So thank you for joining us and playing with our theme tonight.
And did you dive into the theme?
No, not quite.
Okay. So what we wanted to dive into today is, or the beginning of this conversation is this dynamic when you choose to live a life true to you and you become more aware, suddenly the distractions seem to become louder and more dynamic, and you become also more aware of different kinds of energies. So in that time of living in the liminal, where everything is kind of moving and nothing is really fixed. It's like the sweet, shiny, bright things and the dark, dark things suddenly become very distractive and tempting to fall into. It's a little bit like when you go in the old days, not in the modern days, of course, not into the fairy world, right? How you can be distracted and lose sense of time completely. Can you relate to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and just also really wanting to hear from you guys and play with you where you're at. And you were going to say something?
No, I mean, what works best for us is when it's more interactive. So just, do you know how to mute and unmute yourself? Everybody knows that from Zoom technology. So if you don't, it's in the little, what corner is it? The right or the left?
Yeah, this way.
Okay. So you can mute and unmute yourself. And if you leave yourself unmuted the whole time, we can hear everything you're doing. Opening a candy wrapper, going to the bathroom, whatever. So if you want to talk, just unmute yourself. So really, what brought you here this evening? What's going on in your world? There's a little mascot. Cute. What's going on in your world about the different energies that are presenting themselves to you as you say, yes, I'm committing to my life. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to be conscious. I'm going to go for it. And then these different energies come in. What comes up for you? What's going on in your world?
Or it doesn't necessarily mean that all these energies. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm committing to my life. And 5 minutes later, it's like, and you find yourself binge watching Netflix.
Yes.
Right? I see a couple of heads nodding.
Yes, all the Christmas movies that I've never watched in my life, but I've just been sitting there. And I mean, they're all the same. But just, it's like hibernating or something, or just like, moving away from the world.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that in the last month for sure, if not a little longer. Just yeah, I was saying today when I was talking to you earlier, like my mojo just sort of has been gone, and I've just been so aware of all the energies and kind of just pulling into my own space, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else feel like that in their life at the moment, or something different? What's cooking?
Yeah, kind of. I've been asking for some things to show up, and all of a sudden they show up, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's intense. I don't know. Ooh, run away. That kind of thing has been showing up.
And how are you with that? Or do you run away? Do you hide? Are you meeting it? What's...
Sometimes I meet it, and sometimes it's more like I want to hide, but I'm stepping into it. I'm not hiding, but I feel like I want to hide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not alone.
Yeah. Like the consciousness part, like keep asking for it. And then when it pops up, it's scary. It's a lot. And then it kind of feels good because it's like, oh, this is cool to have all this. But then just like the ebb and flow of it.
Mm-hmm. So what's scary about it?
The intensity of it. And am I going to be able to deal with it is what the words come out as. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, makes sense.
Be able to produce what I say I want to do something, and then it comes up, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can really do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That is yeah. So anybody else relate to that before we dive?
Yeah. Some nodding heads.
Yeah.
Is that a band?
It's
the nodding heads.
The nodding heads. So with that, we talked a little bit about that in the last Fireside chat, the intensity, right? And the intensity of those new energies coming in. And it's like that come here, go away game that a lot of us know maybe from relationships. And now we have it all over our life. Like, I want it, but I don't want it. In Germany, we say, wash my fur, but don't get me wet. Kind of thing.
That's a good one.
So, mm-hmm.
That's funny. Sorry.
So, there's so many different energies on this one.
Just take one and see where it goes.
So,
I'm finding that I'm absorbing negativity easier.
Okay, yeah.
And can you say a bit more? Do you have an example that you're willing to share? Or what does absorbing negativity mean?
Well, I just feel like I'm perceiving everybody's down mood or everyone that's struggling. I seem to be picking up on that a lot more lately.
Okay. And are you like feeling it in your body as well? And it's affecting you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like usually if I feel it and I return it to center, then I'm okay. But lately I've been feeling it more intensely. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, Janice. So we obviously are living in changing times, and just a little recap, we're really moving from living from the either or where we had to make a choice, where we either could have the cake or we could eat it, into a time of the and.
Both and.
Both and, where we can have the cake and we can eat it, right? That does not make sense to the mind, because the mind lives in the world of either or. And it also does not make sense to a lot of, or actually all of the conditionings that we have been living in. Like all the shoulds, shouldn'ts, in terms of right and wrong, and all the social conditionings are all based on the dual system, right? They don't have multiple choices available. Maybe if you're lucky and you win the prize and you get into heaven, then you will be able to have all of it, right? But before that, you have to make choices. You have to make a choice what career you are doing. You have to choose what food you eat, which diet to follow, yada, yada, yada. Okay? And that grip of those conditionings loosens up once you make that choice to commit to your life and to find out what else is possible. So what energetically happens, it's literally the armoring starts crumbling. Okay? And when you look energetically at people that are very clear and secure, and I know what's right and I know what's wrong, energetically they have like this big fat layer of armor around them. What that does for somebody who is creative is they create, but the energy doesn't only reflect from the outside in, from the outside back out, that nothing can penetrate. It also reflects from inside back to you. Okay? So to move into the new time with that shield of rights and wrongs and all those conditionings doesn't really work, because the more creative you become, the more that energy firing back from your armoring is destructive to you. Okay? So that's why you also might see that a lot of people have, or maybe you have, weird physical symptoms and they go to the doctor and nobody can tell them what it is. Everything is okay, go home, right? But you're just like, oh, I'm not okay. And that partly, not all of it, but partly comes from that wall still being there and your own creative energy basically firing back at you. Okay, so far, are you guys with me?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So is that like we're perceiving? It's more. Is it a reflection or it's a pushback? It's something of a part of who we are, and that it's even more intense. So it's like what Kim was saying about, yeah, I'm choosing this, but then do I really want it? And it looks like it seems more painful or more uncomfortable
intense.
Intense than what I had maybe envisioned it being.
Mm-hmm.
Or Janice saying.
Yeah. And so again, remember, we are leaving the linear behind, so it's the both and. So on one side, the intensity is cranked up because you're perceiving your own energy more. Okay? And when you make this choice, I'm going to commit to my life, you're getting your own creative juices going. Right? And what they help you to do is that you will find all what I call the goobers that get in the way of you actually being that amazing, magical, creative being that you truly be. Okay? So that intensity shows you, okay, there might be something that you're holding on to because it's reflecting right back at you. Okay? So, yeah. Somebody have a question? No, good. So this is just for your awareness that some of the intensity will be amplified because you are turning yourself more on And thus you can perceive all those places where you're holding on, where you have some hidden fears, and where, yeah, the scary places really. And instead of going, can I handle this? How would it be if you went, wow, I'm curious. I found another goober, right? Make it an Easter egg hunt all year. And when you find those intensities, and often the mind cannot fathom what it actually is. You cannot say, hey, it's pink and has blue dots on it, and it's comes from my past because I did this and this and this. That's very irrelevant. You're also moving from a being of matter into being more of a being of energy. Thus, words will fail to work, and linear thought will fail to work. But you can say that, okay? So when it gets that intense, it's just like, look at it, acknowledge what it is. Like what you said, Jen, in the beginning. It's like, whoa, it becomes really intense. Sometimes I deal with it. Sometimes I run away from it. Like, you have that whole spectrum available. And that is very, very important in this time, to allow yourself to go at your own speed.
And even those sort of sad or depressive energies, I mean, they're popping up. I mean, we're here in the holiday season, and those, again, your own armoring is, dissolving. And so your perceiving is so much higher and greater. And for me, this is how I see it, is if I have a resonance to that anywhere in my body, or I used to be like that, then that's the stuff that seems to come up in my reality. So I've had that in my past, that resonance to that sadness and depression and all of that. So that's what kind of comes up for me. Or somebody might find angry people coming at them. So it doesn't really matter what it is. It could be anger, sadness. Those are some of the big emotional states on this planet right now. So if you're finding those, you're kind of right on par with what's happening.
And there's so much information. Blah, blah, blah.
You guys are like bringing us all this cool stuff.
So with that, it's not like in the old days, you know how we say you created that for yourself, or there must be something in you that goes into resonance. Okay?
Yeah.
That's not quite what we're talking about. The more you move into that being of energy, the more you are also connected with everything. So it's more your part in the big creation, in the big piece of art. No, yeah, more. We're just promoting Cass to be a panelist as well. Yeah. So when you say, okay, what in me is it that is holding on? Sometimes it's just perceiving an energy that is moving through the whole planet. For example, in the last months, there were a lot of rather unkind energies being released planetary-wide. So, yeah. And a lot of people picked that up and thought, what's happening? And instead of going into your own little cubby hole, how about just being space with it? And first of all, acknowledging it and really saying, okay, can I do anything actually here with this? You don't have to always do something with stuff. Right?
And knowing also, can it change now? Like, can this be changed? Can I throw some change here into it? And it might not be the time in this moment.
So my question to you is, would you be willing to be uncomfortable without the urge to immediately change it? I don't see very many enthusiastic yeses.
I have to.
Were you going to say something, Kim?
Yes. what popped for me immediately was, why do I have to? And I find that the so-called old tools aren't really the only thing that's working for me right now. Is just throwing lightning bolts. I find like barriers down, expand out, the zillion other tools we know, they're not changing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said you're willing to be uncomfortable, excuse the expression, but I got, fuck no. It's been heavy for long enough, which I know is a conclusion. And yeah, I guess also how to be, you said, would you be willing? That's
so to get,
yeah, I get no, but I'd like to be willing. How's that?
That's honest. And so, otherwise what you're doing, if you're like throwing lightning bolts all the time, that's when you can throw a lightning bolt and it comes back at you if it's the not correct timing. So what we're also moving into with this liminal living is the art of timing, right? It's knowing, like being so intimately connected with all of the different energies and knowing when to throw the lightning bolt and when to hold back with the lightning bolt, or, use the lightning bolt for yourself, for your own energy. So it's just timing.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good point. In terms of the how, Kim, just go, that's the how. Okay?
And if you can't see that, Sabine.
No, that is so Sabina.
I know. But some people just listen to the audio.
Right. So the challenge is that there is no how as such other than being present with. So,
and being present with can be very uncomfortable.
So and that's finding your goobers is uncomfortable because you have hidden them under the carpet for a reason, because they're intense, because they're fear-based, because, right? And often they're a little bit smelly. But the thing is, if you just pull the carpet, throw it out, like clear that stuff, it doesn't quite work that way. And sometimes it just takes that space to just be with it and not budge, right? For some reason, in the last week or so, I ran into the image of the Sumo Wrestlers. Okay, do you guys know the Sumo Wrestlers? These are big wrestlers.
Japanese.
I don't know where it originates. And they're really very strong men, and they just stand there and they hit their legs and they just look at each other. And from what I've heard, sometimes they would just look at each other and know who already wins the fight, right? So it's very much also the art of being totally, utterly present in your strength.
Oh.
Okay? So would you be willing to be uncomfortable while you are 100% being in your strength as much as you can be? Would that change it?
And it's finding you and being you as much as you can, because in the liminal times, it's literally tossing to and fro and everywhere and up and down and all around and upside down, and it's all like that. So like finding your, however you call it, your center, something that is you, is really crucial. So with our bodies are here on the planet at this time. So really connect with your body. And I do this a lot in classes. Touch yourself, connect your hands to your thighs, feel your bum on the chair. Just really, okay, I have a body. This is my body. And that can be like a sort of an anchor point in the storm. Okay, this is my body. And then you can begin there, because it is disorienting. We are in a total new creative phase.
Mm-hmm. And with that, now, first we talked about the energy, your own creative energies that find basically your goobers, like where that energy reflects back at you. And the other part is that when you drop those barriers, right, you of course are more aware of what's coming towards you, or the whole connection. It's not really towards you, but you're becoming aware of all of creation, which again can be rather intense, because yes, there are shitheads out there. Surprise, surprise, right? And the more you drop your barriers, the more you become aware of what's actually going on, and it's not all pretty and pink. Okay? And overall, it's magical, beautiful in the whole creation. And the more you are in that space where you can just look at it and say, oh, wow, cool, without any judgments, the more you can tap into the beauty and the magic of it. Okay? And still, it is not about, I'm today in pink. I don't know why pink comes up. It's not about wearing your pink glasses and everything is beautiful. It is being present and aware of what is, and that connection with your body and that presence in your strength to see, hey, there are different kinds of energy, and what we like to, or kind of the energies that we have found is basically there are energies out there that are nurturing to you, your being, your body, and there are energies out there that are indifferent, that don't do a thing, and there are energies that are destructive, that don't really contribute to who you are and what you're going for. Okay? Can you relate to that? Yeah, cool. So when you have that discomfort and you have these energies coming at you, or you feel like you want to fall over and just drink hot cocoa and eat bonbons on the couch.
Wine.
Right. That one, for most of you probably. It's that acknowledgement, hi, I see you. And just ask yourself, okay, is this energy actually contributing to me? Is this energy an energy that's just indifferent to me? Is this energy an energy that actually is getting in my way and tries to limit me? Because all three of them are out there, right? And they're not good and they're not bad, they're just different. I like to use that example. Juna likes celery and it makes her happy. It doesn't make me happy at all, right? Is celery good or bad? It's neither. It's just celery. Same with energy, right? It's just energy. For some people, it's nurturing. For other people, it's not. And for a lot of people, it's totally indifferent. So when you're present with those three kinds of energies and you see, okay, yeah, this actually contributes to me, even though it might be uncomfortable. Again, would you be willing in your strength to be present with an energy that actually a contribution to you that makes you uncomfortable? I'm looking at you, Kim. She nods her head, yes. Right? And when you notice that it is an indifferent energy, like something that's just flying by but that doesn't really relate to you.
I call it neutral or irrelevant. It's just irrelevant.
Yeah. How would it be if you would allow yourself to acknowledge that there is irrelevant stuff flying around in the universe, irrelevant to you? So you don't have to deal with all the stuff that's around. Right?
It could be freeing for a lot of people. How much are you making relevant that isn't? How many people do you make relevant in your life that really aren't? It's not a bad thing, but yeah, that's just what they say isn't relevant, what they do isn't relevant, and just look at, are you making it relevant? Are you making it mean something?
And how many times, we had a couple of questions about waking up at night, how many times have you woken up at night and suddenly you just like, it was just running. And how much of that was just things flying by that are not related to you, that are not relevant to you?
I call them thoughts that don't matter.
That one. And what if by you acknowledging, hi, this is relevant to me? No, this actually doesn't relate to me.
Mm-hmm.
How much would that just go poof and eliminate a lot of the tension and a lot of the stress that is out there? So,
So, do you have a question, Catherine?
I'm just agreeing.
Oh,
Can I say something too? Or are you finishing a thought?
I was finishing
Okay.
a thought.
Okay.
So, particularly going into Christmas times where you see a lot of people that you might have not seen for a year, right? What if you would allow people to be irrelevant in your life? Would that make family visits easier? Maybe. You can still love them and care for them, but they're just not that relevant. I see some big smiles there.
And for some of you, you love your families, and that's wonderful. Yay.
And you can love them, but they're just not like, they did a great job bringing you to the world and contributing to who you are, but it's just, yeah, they're just great that they're on the planet, but I'll see you next year again, right? So you don't have to interact with those energies. Okay? And now those that are the energies that are not contributing to you and actually, destroying the possibilities in your reality in the way that they come towards you. Would you be willing to be really clear and be that sumo ringer? I have to find a little video.
Wrestler.
Yeah, that's
German.
It's German. Sumo wrestler, and just saying, you must be kidding me, right? And just really allowing yourself that presence that doesn't change for anyone or anything. Even if you have no clue in your head what that is. But somewhere in you, you know who you are. And the more you find that, and the more you actually go along and continue this work, the more you will find that. The more these barriers ripple down, in a weird way, you find yourself. You can be more of you.
And you're finding yourself, but it's still ever changing. So, like, can you relate to that? There's a core of you, there's a sense of you, and you're actually getting more of a sense of you, even though you're changing dynamically. Does that make sense? Like, you're changing a lot, but are those changes becoming more you or less you? I'm curious. Anyone?
More
you and more change.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And more discomfort.
Yeah.
And that's, I can really see it changing for like the expansion of me, but at the same time, some of it's very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah.
Right?
But I know that that's part of it. So sometimes I'll go into a place where I forget to expand more, or, sort of look at it as this is just part of the process. And that's when I can feel myself kind of losing all my energy, but it doesn't last nearly as long as it used to.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for saying that. This is kind of what I wanted to add on to what Sabine was saying. Like, what we're talking about, the kind of the gist of what we wanted to put out there is the external energies, the stuff that you perceive sort of outside of yourself, even though that's just another lie. But there's also, with this whole teaching of the 3 different kind of energies, there's also the energy within yourself. So are you the person that hates and destroys yourself? Are you the person that's on neutral to yourself? are you the person that just loves yourself no matter what? And that's, so you can look at it externally or you can look at it internally. So for me, this is the really fun part is, so when the external energy seems to be destructive, do I go in and match that destructive energy?
No.
Or do I just go, or am I on neutral to it? It just doesn't faze me at all. Or do I just really bring some love and compassion and understanding to that energy? Mm-hmm. Is this making sense? Or when what's another, I guess that's the best kind of example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with what you were just saying, Juna, I was realizing like I'm creating more in my business right now than I ever have before. I've got like a ton of stuff going on and new clients and stuff. And I'm kind of like, yeah, so what? And I don't want to feel, I know what anyway, I won't worry about my languaging. I want to be like, hey, this is great. And I think I feel like that for like 5 seconds. And then it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I want to be stoked.
Is it like whatever, or just very neutral about it?
Yeah, that neutral.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, that's exciting because what it really is, because
I don't want neutral.
That neutral space is the space, it's neither here nor there, and that's when I know like you're on to something. Because like choosing in the highs, that's easy. Choosing in the lows is easy. And when it's in that sort of neutral space, and this is kind of a different meaning than what we've been talking about, but in that neutral, just check it out. So it's not making it significant or relevant. So is that what you're doing in that neutral space? Like, wow, this isn't, I've been working my ass off for this success and now I have it. And there's kind of like a, now what? Is that?
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like I want to go take a nap kind of thing. Not really like I'm tired, but it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, so what? I just created this. Oh, cool. I just got a new client. Cool. And then it's like, yeah, well, so what?
Yeah.
And there is a wisdom in the so what.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So
maybe I'm being thick and I'm not getting it.
This is a rare moment I'm interpreting, Juna.
Okay, good. Thank you. You did
first.
the way around.
And I forgot.
So you are interpreting me. That was a Juna thing. So the neutral piece about having no point of view, or success not being.
So that moment of just like, so what, right? Mm-hmm. What if all of the achievements, everything that you create is just a beautiful stroke of paint in the world? Like when you paint, do you like look at the stroke and you go, wow, this is so cool, right? Mm-hmm. Or I'm not going to say when you sing and then that tone, but when you create like a literal piece of art, like a sculpture or anything, you see the whole creation and not necessarily the individual stroke itself. Thank you for that one, actually. Brush stroke, right? You're seeing the whole piece. So it's that and space again, right? As well as celebrate the stroke and be aware of the whole creation. Mm-hmm. So how would it be to, when you have created something, to allow yourself that, wow, without I have to celebrate the individual brush stroke, but just really being aware of all of your creation without this one involved, because that one can't get it. But wow, okay, thank you.
And I mean, it's as Access Consciousness talks about it, like that whole, like, nothing is significant, nothing is relevant. It's really having no point of view. So, like, have you sort of achieved having no point of view about success, failure, win, lose? It's all, there's an equanimity in the liminal that's, we look for the highs, we look for the lows, and there's this beautiful space of neutral that is like no point of view.
Mm-hmm. In the neutral, though, sometimes I feel like I don't want to do what I should do, i.e. business-wise, like like if I need to communicate or put something out there, or.
That's why I asked you if it was kind of like meh or total neutral.
Yeah. Like I've got an online series and I should probably go into my group when we're done here and do a Facebook Live with them. And it's like, I don't know what I want to say.
And what if creation in the new way happens completely, utterly different than what we have laid out it to be?
Can you say more?
So we're measuring our success on outward results.
Yes.
So what we're doing currently is we're literally contributing to changing the way of being on this planet, or we're opening possibilities into a realm of, I like to call it magic, beauty, wonder, and awe. Right? Something that we all, most of us know it's possible. We have this sense inside of ourselves that there's more. There is a magic that tastes so sweet, that sounds so beautiful, and that is so. Yeah, I don't really have words for that, but it lifts us into a different realm, possibility, where communion is the platform on which we start to create. Okay, so in that space, what we do is only a small part of how we create. I mean, it's all along that way, but we become more aware that it actually is so. Let's put it that way. You get that? So, and that was my question also for you, Kim. It's like when that intensity comes up and that stress of, will I be able to meet that demand? What if you just let go of that need to prove that you deserve the result by doing? That was a big sentence. So what we do, simply put, most of us need to have a reason why we have money in our bank account or in our pocket, right? Most of us would be pretty much flabbergasted if we just had money. So we have to work to make money. We have to work out. We have to diet to lose weight, right? So what if that would just be totally eliminated, and it is way more of being that creates. So in those spaces of, what if you allowed yourself to totally be you and trust that which you do in that space creates?
Even if it's just a in-breath or out-breath between this meeting and the next.
It is not time length, it's just a moment. And that can last a week, a month, a year. Right? And here comes the boot camp, she says with a smile. In that space, it is so easy to give up. Right? Because you judge yourself for not, because you judge yourself because it's not, you don't celebrate your brush stroke. Yeah, you judge yourself for the and all sorts of things. Can you guys relate when you go into that relaxation, how you make yourself wrong for that?
Is this like, especially with an achievement, like
Yeah.
you like, I'm wanting more consciousness, or I wanted to create this thing, and then I've worked and worked and worked, and here it is, and then let down.
Yeah. So the boot camp is that you actually allow yourself the intensity of receiving and acknowledging of what you have created. And instead of making it wrong, making yourself wrong, worrying about the future, being in that moment in time and just saying, oh, this is good. This is a good moment.
And what I was saying before is, who do you belong to? Which of the three energies do you belong to? The one that destroys every great thing you ever do, the one who's on neutral to everything you ever do, or the one that just loves everything you do and has your back no matter what?
And if you choose to create with the magic of the new possibilities, I recommend you choose to be your best cheerleader. Right? Even in that moment when you sit cross-eyed in your chair with your bonbons and your drink, whatever that is, and you just say, hey, cool, I created that. I have a couch, I have bonbons, and I have a drink. Cool. Right? Do you guys get that energy? Yeah? Cool.
What are your thoughts as we're talking about this? What are you aware of? Or do you have a question?
I'm just aware that I have been doing that without realizing it, just kind of knowing that I've created whatever I've created. I went out and bought a bottle of sherry, which I haven't had for a long, long time, and really enjoyed it with my popcorn, which I haven't done for a long time.
Wow.
And, part of me feeling like, oh God, I'm just doing nothing. And the other one was like, no, I'm doing this and this is great. So it was like that, in that both and kind of place that you're talking about. It's hard to put into words, but
Yeah.
Still hard on myself at times about it. But today, the conversation we had early before this really, really helped me, because I can see that I'm just, I was kind of like with Kim, I was really doing a whole lot of stuff. And then it was kind of like, oh, am I enjoying this anymore? Do I really want to do this anymore? And yes, I do. But it's time to back off for a bit. It's a time to just be and relax and build up again. And, so rather than being hard on myself with it, it's just kind of like, yeah, I've created a lot, and now it's okay not to. It's okay not to be do like.
And that's an important,
supposed to.
The important point, what you just said, it's like, it's okay not to do. You're actually creating in that space, and that's what most of us don't acknowledge. That space when you binge watch, that space when you do whatever it is, if you're in that gratitude space, that's a huge creation power. And most of the time, that's exactly the fertilizer for the seed of possibilities that you have planted.
Yeah. And I was, this week I was in this incredible sense of gratitude for some reason. I don't even know how I got it. It was like, I think I read something, or I don't know. And then I could just feel it, and I just expanded. And I was like, okay, and I wasn't thinking about anything. And then the phone rang with 2 clients and new people that it was, and I thought, I haven't heard from them for ages. But it's that as you become this, then it ripples out somehow.
Yeah.
And
without doing anything. And I wasn't even sort of, I want somebody to call me. I didn't actually really, but I was really happy to hear from them.
And this is like the joy of your being, when you're the joy of being you, and that connectedness to yourself, and that creates, and it can create in the most unusual ways, right? And just being willing to have it show up way different than what you planned. And don't underestimate the power of you being you. And it sounds so weird. It sounds so cliche. It's just be me. Okay, well, I have no other choice, or, whatever. But like, what is that? It's a question worth pondering. What is it to be me? And it's not about finding you. It's about creating you, discovering you in every moment with all of the different changes. And with that joy, just the joy of being and that gratitude, how much that can shift things and really create a different reality beyond this reality.
And Kim, the other Kim.
There's two Kims.
Yeah,
here.
I know. It's like Kim and Kim. So talking about that intensity of when you ask a question or when you're creating, and it's like, well, can I really? How would that change if you would allow yourself to relax in your being and give yourself that space that nothing has to happen right now in that moment? Would that change that, your willingness to not run that many times?
Are you talking to this Kim?
This Kim I'm talking to, yes.
It would.
It would.
Yeah, it would. It would.
Yeah. And
use your tools, right?
something like that. And it's also just really in that moment being gentle on yourself, acknowledging what's happening, being with it. And that's sometimes uncomfortable, but relaxing into yourself. Yeah. And not, it's more a choice of, okay, I'm curious how that's going to unfold. I'll take it in my space and my speed, and I'll do what I can to contribute.
Sounds like a fun, like a game to play, just to be curious and playful about it.
Yeah.
But that sounds so fun. Just got to do it. Choose it.
Be it.
Yeah.
And this is what I always say. When the house is burning, it's not the time to learn to become a firefighter. Right? That was channeled.
So when is a good time? I want to know.
When you suddenly have that impulse to, hey, I want to become really buff. I want to hang out with cute guys.
How did you know?
You might consider becoming a firefighter.
What else is possible?
Exactly. I wonder whose head I picked that out. So, but the point is, like, when you're in that intensity of the intimacy with everything possible, that's like using the tools is important before that, so that it becomes natural to you. So every good tool really should turn or encourage you and empower you to turn into a being. For those of you who have done access consciousness, like the question of who does something belong to, right? Eventually becomes just a being. Okay? So it's not a tool anymore, it's a being. And then in that moment, you have that being available and you go, and the fire is out. But that invitation to that being is most joyfully practiced at a fireside and not when your house is burning.
So is there any questions that you guys have about dealing with any energy in particular that made you curious to come here tonight that we could support you with or chat about a little bit? Nobody's wants to come out with it. And I mean, we go through waves too of, crazy time at work, and then that seems to go away. And then it's crazy relatives, and then it's crazy relationship town. And then it's, it's like boom, boom, boom. It's one thing or another thing. So.
Mm-hmm. How are you guys' bodies in this time of change?
Weird.
Right.
Weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just different so-called symptoms that come and go and aren't really anything, but they seem like everybody else has got it, but I know that it's not, it's not a cold. Different aches and pains that come and go that are just, and dizziness, vertigo kind of stuff. Just, odd.
Yeah.
And that's the liminal too, the neither here nor there, nor the up, down, all around kind of thing. So finding that anchor point, finding maybe there's a routine. I hate to say that word. It's hard to come out. A routine or something that you do that daily, or something that brings you into that peace and calm. Like if it brings you into that calm of, okay, this is who I am, and this is helping my body. Maybe it's, doing 10 minutes of breathing, or running if you like to run, or taking a walk, whatever it is, being outside. Find that for you as that anchor point to help you connect with your body, because your body is picking up all of the energies, right? So how can you nurture your body in this time? And that's individual for every person.
And not only is your body picking up all the energy, it goes through a humongous transformation on the molecular level. I'm pretty sure that if you had your DNA checked, that they might find some surprises. Just saying. I'm sure that several of us are changing our DNA to enable us to be that being of energy versus being such a dense being. And again, acknowledge what you're doing. We keep saying that over and over again, and you keep going, what? So we will say it until somebody goes, I think I heard something. Right? You are amazing. Just the fact that you're actually understanding what we're talking about, and that you're present and you're willing to be uncomfortable, even though you're not willing to be uncomfortable. You're still willing to be uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable enough to be here tonight.
Is huge. That is
and know that's even it is the willingness is the beginning. The willingness is already, you're already here, you're already there, you're already being it, doing it, having it. And what would it take to really lower the barriers and receive and be more of it? And all of these weird sort of body symptoms, really meeting it with that, look at that, look at that. How can I support you, body? Who else could support me? Body, what do you need right now? And just really having that kind of like truly being matter of fact and curious.
And like what Juna was saying in one word, truly be in the question with your body. Like catch yourself when you're in judgment of your body, because in this time of the liminal, things move very fast. So any judgment is way more a whack over the head or a kick in the ass than when you're like going in the non-liminal.
That's true.
Does that make sense?
So think of think of your life 5 years ago, 1 year ago. You've moved so much more ahead now. You're not the same. So like any kind of judgment or conclusion or point of view that's fixed hurts way more. to put it bluntly.
has a bigger impact. Let's put it that way.
And then you go into thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me because it has such a big impact. It's so intense. What's wrong with me? No, you're more aware. You're moving way faster. And then this energy comes along that's a lot denser, a lot more matter. Mm-hmm. And it comes into your awareness. But this is a year, a time of transformation. And just really, when you can look at it with no point of view and just go, hi. Mm-hmm. And what do I do with this? And then let it go. Or just let it go and let it move through you.
And if you want to eat pickles and chocolate or cake or whatever together, you're not pregnant. Your body just requires weird shit.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is anyone's body looking different? As well as feeling different?
I mean, when I look at Juna, she changes every day, like how she looks. Is that what you're relating to?
Yeah. Like I have dropped two sizes in the last maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm eating chocolate every day.
Yeah. That's actually
Sure.
I'm losing weight without changing my diet much or changing my diet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's which I like. I like that end of the part of the story. I'm comfortable with it. When it goes the other way, it's like, really, body?
Yeah.
Really want to be that curvaceous? Okay. Funny. And we're actually playing right now very much with bodies right now. And asking question of what is possible, because we would like to dive in January into being with bodies in this new energy in a nurturing way and explore that.
Yeah, we're creating a course, New Beginnings with Your Body, a new beginning with your body. So look for that in sometime probably end of January.
Yeah, whenever we get our act together. I should say when the time is right.
When we get our asses up.
No, but why we're bringing it up is really for you to be aware. Yes, it is an intense time, and it's important that you nurture, nourish, and take care of your body, and allow your body to take care of you as well.
And there might be something with your body that just doesn't want to change. Like some people that I'm working with and myself, there's some like really intense stuck energy that, man, I've been trying this and this and this and this. So part of what we want to create in January is really getting a group of people together and looking at this. What can we change if we get a few of us together? What can we change together with bodies that kind of changing the unchangeable kind of thing? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about?
And not from judgment.
Not from judgment, but just noticing, man, like, have you tried this, and it's not working. So what is that energy? Mm-hmm. And can it actually shift? And can we play together and discover and explore something different?
And that's actually something that I would like to add here as well, is sometimes when the intensities come up, it is important to ask, can I change it? And can I change it now? Because sometimes you can't. Sometimes when you try to change something in the now, you hit the brick wall. But 5 minutes later, there's an opening that almost changes it by itself. Your mind can't figure that out, but your awareness will guide you through this. So part of the flumsing stage, right, is often also it's not the time to create or do anything.
Create overtly.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So really allow yourself that space of just being there. And again, also, please allow your body to take care of you. We all are so conditioned to take care of our body, and we have to. But what if your body would take care of you?
I like that.
Maybe not in the way that you expect it to. Maybe in a way more delicious way. Is that an adventure for the next month?
Quite the invitation.
Uh-huh.
I like it. Any final questions, comments? Was this helpful? Yeah, thumbs up.
Yay.
Cool. It's amazing. We've been doing some of these a little bit more often, and it really can perceive the different energy on every call. Everyone is so different. So thank you for being you and bringing your unique being to this fireside chat. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I have the suspicion we will continue this if it works for you guys.
Awesome.
And how we're doing it is gypsy style. It'll be on a different night, a different time, whenever we feel like the energy's right. So that's how we're going to roll this fireside chats into the future. So just stay tuned and.
Yeah, wait, I have to.
So much.
I have to. I'm going to pin you, Janice. Here. This is the
Bye,
one.
Janice's dog.
So cute.
Oh, you're so cute.
You're so cute.
Okay. Cool.
Bye.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
How do I do
Thank you.